again. Ah, hello again. Here to review another one of my movies? No, this is my room. What are you doing here? Well, I've noticed recently that you got yourself a bit of recognition here on the YouTube space. I guess. Well, I decided to come back to help you handle your newfound fame with tact. Okay, I'm gonna review The Last Showman right now. If you want to, you can stick around and give me pointers or something. I would love to. And the key, I'll tell you, the key is to not care at all about what you're doing and just get it over with as soon as possible so you can move on to the next project.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
Well, The Greatest Showman is out now thanks to La La Land for making the musical a commercially viable genre again. And The Greatest Showman, the easiest way to describe it is to compare it to La La Land. There's a scene in La La Land where Ryan Gosling sort of sells out and makes this song with this jazz pop band that he doesn't particularly like, and the music that he does is not particularly him or what he wants to do.
I don't know what your name is, but I like it. I've been thinking about some things I wanna try. I don't know what you came to do, but I want it.
And that song, the sellout song, is the entire movie for The Greatest Showman. Every single song in this movie has this incredibly overproduced, poppy glamour that does not work for this particular movie. I mean, you can make your songs sound expensive like this movie does. You can make your songs poppy like this movie does. You can make them sound overproduced like this movie does. But every single song should feel or operate differently. And that's the biggest problem with The Greatest Showman, is that every single song feels, sounds, and is executed in an almost identical fashion. And the biggest issue, I think, with the songs, specifically that's not related to the incredible overproduction, is the length. Every single song is so long. The opening number to this movie goes on for, it feels like 15 minutes. It just keeps going. And I just kept waiting and saying, end, please, end. And it just kept going and going and going. And all the songs have these terrible lyrics, atrocious production, and this horrible in-your-face commentary that just does not work. And not only that, but it doesn't even fit the era that this movie is set in. The movie is about P.T. Barnum, who is the inventor of the circus, for lack of a better word, inventor. And he revolutionized this kind of genre of entertainment. And the movie's about him. So it's set in like the 1800s. But you never get the sense or feeling that you're there in the 1800s with these characters. It's always just like this wall in between the movie and the audience, to where it refuses to let you in. It refuses to let you get invested in anything, because not only are the songs incredibly overproduced and modernized to the point of it not feeling like an 1800s movie, but the storyline is so overproduced and modernized to the point where it doesn't feel like an 1800s movie. The plot is so generic and cookie cutter Hollywood nonsense.
Those people will never accept us.
This isn't the life I promised you. Not even close.
But I have everything I want.
Girls, I think I've had an idea.
Look out, 'cause here I come.
I'm putting together a show.
I mean, if you've seen the trailer to this movie, you know exactly what it's going to be just going in. It's just a terrible, on-the-nose political commentary that has nothing to offer in the realm of interesting characters or storyline. Or normally in a movie like this, you have 3 distinct acts. Act 1 is the setup. You establish characters, tone, environment, all these things. Second act is conflicts and heroes at their lowest point. So the end of the second act is usually the dramatic low point for the movie, where the heroes are beaten or separated. And then you get the third act where they come back together and solve the problem. This is every Disney movie ever. And it's not that hard of a formula to get right because it is so easy and kind of generic. But even The Last Showman gets this wrong. Like, not only are the songs terrible and the characters flat, but the story is not interesting. The biggest issue that I have with it is that it doesn't have a third act. We get like 45 minutes to an hour of this horrible setup where it just establishes locations, characters, and tone. And in the second act, we get the conflict and the character at their dramatic low point, where P.T. Barnum is in this scandal with his wife, and his wife leaves him, and all of his friends don't like him because he's kind of sold out, and then his building burns down, so he's at his dramatic low point. And then within 5 minutes, he makes up with his wife, they get back together, he makes up with his family, they love him again, and he makes up with all his friends, they love him again, and then they just get a tent for the circus, and then the movie ends. So there's not a third act to this movie. It just kind of pitters out and dies, where they had no clue. They seem to have no clue what story they're trying to tell. It's like, okay, we're gonna show how P.T. Barnum got his start. No, we're not, actually. We need some kind of drama to this. We're gonna add in this horrible subplot where he goes on this elongated tour with somebody that he just barely met, and then they have this scandal that gets back to America where his wife sees a picture in the newspaper of him kissing another woman, completely out of context, and without talking to the husband at all, she just leaves. And then he tries to shamble his life back together, and then the movie just kind of dies. Like, it's just horrible. It's a horribly executed script.
It's a place where people can see things they've never seen before. Okay.
Who's that?
And what is your act?
I don't have an act.
Everyone's got an act.
People aren't gonna like it if you put us on the stage.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
I believe those are the words of a scoundrel.
A showman. Whistling just a showman.
Mark. Whatever. The characters make this horrible script just as boring as you could expect. Every character is just a flat line. Even P.T. Barnum, you really don't know what he wants. He kind of just wants to be popular, and that's his whole motivation. And his arc in the movie is that he wants to be popular, and then, oh no, actually I don't want to be popular. That's like the only actual character arc in this whole movie. But to be fair, not everything is pitiful and pathetic. The performances here are all great. Somehow the movie was able to get Zac Efron, Zendaya, Hugh Jackman, Michelle Williams, and Mission Impossible lady, Rebecca Ferguson. And all of them do a great job. Every performance in this movie is really good. And there are some creative visuals. With some of the songs have these really elaborate creative segments that are really fun to look at, where there's a sequence at the beginning of the film when Hugh Jackman is front-lit, so he's in the silhouette, and he's singing to the song as feet in the background are smashing to the beat. And that's an interesting visual, but that's it. It's just terrible. The music is all horrible, top 100 nonsense that has no real influence on the story at all and is terribly overproduced. The characters are completely flat and boring. The story goes nowhere and achieves nothing and doesn't even have a third act. And I mean, yeah, the performances are okay, and the visuals are creative sometimes, but that's kind of a stretch. I don't like this movie. I hate this movie. I don't think anybody should see this movie. I'll probably give it a 3, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Put us in the spotlight. You gave us a real family.
Have you no shame? Father, the world is changing.
No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else.
Oh. Oh, bravo. Bravo. You've done me proud, boy. Dude, you weren't even watching. I saw you. You were asleep for the entire review. Don't worry about it, okay? It's fine. No one will notice. No one will notice. Just trust me. Now, get out of my house. Well, fine. Fine then. I'm not wanted. I know when I'm not wanted. Let's go.